In this video, I am going to share an easy system for predicting both teams to score market in football. While most people are out there just guessing whether a game feels like both teams will find the net based on the names on the team sheet, we are going to do something entirely different. We are going to move away from that emotional guesswork and focus on a cold, data-driven system that identifies exactly when the conditions for goals are in our favor. So, go put the kettle on and let's dive right in. That leads us neatly to phase 1, which is what I call data collection and the last 10 match rule. This is the foundation of our entire both teams to score projection, because before we can predict anything, we have to build a stable and reliable database that reflects the actual reality of how teams are performing. Now, the biggest mistake I see people making when they are first learning this is they either look at far too much data or they look at data that is completely irrelevant. If you look at full season stats, the numbers are too slow to reflect a team's current tactical setup or their recent injuries. On top of that, many people mix cup matches with league games, which is a massive error. Cup games often have a completely different intensity, higher rotation, and a winner-takes-all mentality that does not happen in a standard league environment. How we approach this correctly is by looking strictly at the last 10 league matches for each team, but there is a very specific way we split this data. For the home team, we only look at their last 10 matches played at home. For the away team, we only look at their last 10 matches played on the road. This matters because teams often have a completely different offensive and defensive identity depending on whether they are playing in front of their own fans or traveling away. From those 10 games, we want to collect 5 key metrics: average goals scored, average goals conceded, average shots on target, average expected goals, and finally, the actual percentage of matches where both teams to score has hit. By focusing on this specific 10-game window, we find the perfect balance between recent form and a large enough sample size to ignore one-off flukes. By the way guys, if you want to skip all that manual data collection and find the best both teams to score opportunities instantly, the Statto app is a brilliant shortcut. Instead of hunting through match logs and spreadsheets yourself, you simply press the prompt and let the artificial intelligence do the heavy lifting for you. It turns what could be an hour of manual research into a few seconds of work, which is a massive advantage when you are first learning how to apply these systems and want to find the best opportunities without the headache of manual arithmetic. As you can see, I just pressed the both teams to score prompt and I can instantly get the best suggested bet within seconds. If you are serious about your sports investing, then you need this app in your life. You can find the link in the description below or scan the QR code to download the app and get going. Moving on, and once we have that data, we move into phase 2, which is where we project the expected goals per team. This is where we turn raw history into a future prediction using a blended formula. The reason this matters is that actual goals can often be misleading. A team might score 3 goals but only create 1.0 worth of expected goals, meaning they were incredibly lucky. Conversely, a team might fail to score despite creating 3.0 xG. If you only look at the scoreline, you are missing the truth. What most people do wrong here is they only look at the goals column. We approach this correctly by blending goals and xG together to smooth out that variance. Let's look at our Arsenal versus Chelsea example. First, we project Arsenal's goals by taking their home scoring average of 2.1 and adding it to Chelsea's away conceded average of 1.6. We divide that by 2 to get a goals-based projection of 1.85. Then, we do the exact same thing using the XG data, which also gives us a projection of 1.85. Finally, we blend those two numbers together. In this case, it gives us a firm projection of 1.85 goals for Arsenal. When we run the same math for Chelsea, blending their away scoring average with Arsenal's home defensive stats, we get a projection of 1.22 goals. This blended approach ensures our projection isn't just a reaction to a lucky result, but a reflection of a team's true attacking and defensive intent. By the way, if you like videos like this and want to see more on this subject, remember to click the like button. It tells YouTube to send you more of this kind of content. And while you are there, you should hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a system or strategy video. And so that leads us neatly to phase 3, which is the both teams to score threshold check. This is the filter that separates a maybe from a professional trade. Now, the biggest mistake people make here is they think that if both teams are projected to score at least 0.1 goals, it is a good bet. That is far too low. To be profitable over the long run, we need a high degree of confidence that both sides can find the back of the net. How we approach this correctly is by setting a strict threshold. For a strong, both teams to score profile, we ideally want to see both teams projected to score at least 1.3 goals. If both teams are above that mark, it is an automatic strong lean. In our example, Arsenal is at 1.85, which is fantastic. Chelsea is at 1.22, which is slightly below our ideal mark, but still sits above our minimum borderline threshold of 1.1. When we add these together, we get a combined match projection of 3.07 total goals. This tells us that we are likely looking at an open, attacking game where the scoring environment is ripe for both sides to get on the score sheet. If your math shows one team is projected to score 0.8 or lower, you should almost always walk away, regardless of what your gut says. Once the offensive math is done, we move to phase 4, which is the vulnerability check. To win this bet, we don't just need teams that can score, we need teams that are capable of conceding. What most people do wrong is they only look at the attacking side of the game. They see two great strikers and assume both will score. But if one of those teams has a world-class brick wall defense, the bet is much riskier than the odds might suggest. We approach this correctly by looking for specific defensive weaknesses. In our example, we look at Arsenal's home defensive record. They concede 0.9 goals per game with an XG against of 1.1. That tells us they are solid, but definitely not elite. They allow chances. Then we look at Chelsea. They are conceding 1.6 goals per game on the road with an XG against of 1.7. This is a massive green light for us. Chelsea is incredibly vulnerable. This gives us high confidence that Arsenal will score. Then we ask, is Chelsea likely to score at least one? With their projection of 1.22 and Arsenal's tendency to allow over 1.0 worth of chances at home, the answer is yes. We have confirmed that both doors are likely to be left slightly ajar, which is exactly what we need for this trade. That brings us to phase 5, which is the contextual overlay. This is where we layer human information on top of our mathematical base. Numbers are our anchor, but football is played by people. What most learners do wrong at this stage is they ignore things like team news or motivation until it is too late. How we approach this correctly is by looking at 3 specific areas. First, we look at team motivation. If this is a top 4 race where both teams desperately need 3 points, the tempo is likely to be high, which supports goals. If one team is safe in mid-table and playing with no intensity, the tempo might drop. Second, we look at tactical style. If you have a high possession team that presses high, like Arsenal, they often leave space behind for a transition threat, which is exactly what Chelsea provides. This clash of styles is a classic recipe for both teams to score. And finally, we check the personnel. If Chelsea's main striker is missing, we might reduce our projection. If Arsenal is missing a key centre-back, the probability of both teams to score actually goes up. We always wait to confirm the starting lineups before making a final decision, ensuring the human context matches our data. Now we reach phase 6, which is the decision buffer. This is about professional discipline and comparing our probability to the market price. What most people do wrong is they see a projection they like and they bet on it regardless of the odds. But if the market has already priced the event perfectly, there is no profit to be made. We approach this correctly by calculating our edge. In our Chelsea example, their 1.22 projection makes this a moderate lean. If the price for both teams to score is 1.65, the bookmaker is implying there's a 61% chance of it happening. At that price, we probably don't have an edge. However, if the price is 1.90, which implies only a 52% chance, and our math suggests the true probability is closer to 60%, we have found significant value. We only place the trade when the price gives us a margin of safety. If the math is marginal and the price is short, we have the discipline to walk away and wait for a better opportunity. And finally, we reach phase 7, which is the in-play price edge. This is where we turn a good prediction into a professional trade using timing. Let's say our pre-match analysis is solid, but the price is a bit too short at 1.75. What most people do is they take the short price anyway because they are afraid of missing out. The way we approach this correctly is by using the patience rule. If the first 15 to 20 minutes remain 0-0, that price of 1.75 will often drift out to 2.0 or even 2.10. Has the probability of both teams scoring collapsed? Not necessarily. If we are watching the game and see that both teams have already had shots and the XG is building in an open game, our original projection is still valid. But now we are getting even money for an event that we've calculated is still a 55 to 60% shot. That is where the real edge lives. We also apply a specific assessment if an early goal goes in. If Arsenal scores in the 5th minute, we don't just rush in. We assess the response. Does Chelsea look aggressive, or is Arsenal now just controlling possession and suppressing the game? This level of in-play discipline is what separates a professional from a gambler. As said, if you want to skip all the hard work and find the very best value both teams to score opportunities across all these matches, then the Statto app will save you an incredible amount of time. As you can see, you just press the prompt for the market you're looking for and let the artificial intelligence do the hard work for you. It provides a massive boost to your speed and efficiency, giving you well-researched opportunities in seconds that would otherwise take you hours to calculate manually. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get started. It is a serious game changer for anyone looking to professionalize their approach. I really hope this deep dive into the both teams to score projection system has shown you that this market doesn't have to be a guessing game. When you use the last 10 match rule, calculate a blended projection, and wait for the market to give you the right price, you are no longer just betting on a feeling. You are operating a proven system. Thank you so much for watching and for your time today. If you found this useful, please do hit that like button to let me know. It tells YouTube to show you more of this kind of content. As always, the learning shouldn't stop here. There is actually another video on the screen right now that I think you will find very interesting. It is a good one to watch next if